UFC 307, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree just ended, and this is going to be my UFC 307 post-fight for the full card. We're going to discuss Pereira Rountree. We're going to discuss that highly anticipated women's title fight in the co-main event, Raquel Pennington losing her title to Julianna Peña. We're going to talk the controversial split decision, José Aldo versus Mario Bautista, and every other fight on the card. Let's just jump right into it, because UFC 307 wasn't the greatest card on paper. Overall, I think the main event saved the entire card. The performance from Alex Pereira in the main event saved the entire card. But let's start off with the very first fight of the night. We have McGee versus Tim Means. Look, going in this fight, it was dead body versus dead body. It was basically a coin flip fight. McGee gets it done via first round neck crank. Fight is kind of uneventful on the feet. Tim Means gets taken down. McGee starts looking for a rear naked choke basically immediately. Gets to the back, starts working for the rear naked choke. Means is defending until he's not. And then McGee gets a neck crank. It doesn't really look all that tight. You know, typically guys don't tap the neck cranks, but he's able to get a real good squeeze on Tim Means' neck, and Tim Means taps out like Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. So McGee gets the win over the Dirty Bird. There's really not a whole lot to say here. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to say. So 3 minutes, 19 seconds into the first round, McGee with a win over Tim Means. What's more is there to say? Next fight on the card, we have Carla Esparza versus Tecia Pennington. Tecia Pennington gets the win. One judge had it 30-27. I don't know how that's even possible. I really, truly don't know how that's even possible. This fight was, Well, I'm going to be honest. I think it was kind of a robbery. I think Carla Esparza won this fight. I had rounds 1 and 3 for Carla. First round, Tecia was kind of landing, but swinging at air. Got over aggressive, gets taken down, double-legged. Landed an illegal up kick at one point in time. Carla Esparza ends up controlling her on the ground. I think there were some knees to the body from side control. I think she got in the mount at one point, started throwing down elbows. No, she got into the crucifix position. I was misremembered. I'm dead tired. It's 4 a.m. right now. By the way, guys, if you enjoy these full card post fights, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, first round, I don't think it's up for debate. Carla Esparza clearly won the first round. Second round, Pennington really was starting to chop with the legs. Esparza would land an occasional right hand. I think Carla got a takedown at one point, but didn't really do much with it. Tecia kind of dragged herself to the fence, and Carla landed a couple shots there. I thought the second round was like kind of 50-50, but I leaned Tecia Pennington. And then the third round, you had Tecia throwing some more leg kicks. Carla would rush in and land like an occasional right hand. And then I thought it was like 50-50, could go either way. Last like 10 seconds, Carla Esparza gets a takedown, starts smashing her with ground and pound elbows. I thought even flash KO'd her at one point. And I thought, okay, it was 50-50 up until that point. There's no way Carla Esparza doesn't win. She should win 29-28. Somehow the judge's unanimous decision, there's a million split decisions on this card, that in a way I thought a lot of them went the wrong way. Somehow they give it to Tecia Pennington. Carla Esparza should win out with a win for her retirement fight. I thought she won rounds 1 and 3 pretty clearly, and she loses. So it is what it is. I will say, and I know a lot of people think, Joe, you're so negative on the UFC, and I am kind of down on the UFC recently. Even this card in general. Shout out to the UFC. I love seeing them do good things for their fighters. It seems like nowadays there's more Dana shitting on certain fighters than doing anything else. And it was good to see them have that like retirement package ready for former champion Carla Esparza and let her speak on the mic after the loss. So I was really happy to see the UFC do that. I know people are going to be like, oh, it's women's MMA. Who cares about this fight? Blah, blah, blah. I thought it was good. Carla Esparza has been in the UFC for a while, and she was a former champion. It's crazy. She just lost her belt in her last fight against Weili Zhang. But I thought she got kind of screwed here. I thought she won the fight. Tecia Pennington saying she won. I don't think she won. Next fight on the card, we have Ryan Spann versus Ovince St. Preux. Superman Spann lighting it up at MSG as John Anik would say. I believe it was John Anik who was saying that. Yeah, I'm a little bit dead right now. Ryan Spann wins via first round guillotine. Crazy fight while it lasted. Both guys throwing big shots. Both guys landing. Both guys tagging each other. Ryan Spann lands a punch that literally turns OSP around. Then OSP shoots in on a takedown. Ryan Spann locks up a high elbow guillotine. And OSP ends up giving up mount. It's tight. He tries to survive. Eventually, he has to tap out. Look, Spann, what does this win really mean? OSP is basically a dead body, split decision against the dead body of Shogun Rua. But still, he gets it done in the first round in an impressive performance. Both guys were slugging early. Both guys were landing. But look, Ryan Spann at elevation, he's got to pray for a first-round KO because his cardio's awful not at elevation. So had this gone into a second and third round, had this gone into a third minute, I don't know whose cardio would have looked worse, Ryan Spann or OSP's. He gets it done, signature win in the first round, but it's against OSP, so what does that really mean? I don't know if that it really means that much. And there's really not too much to say about this fight. They just slugged it out. Was first person to get hurt, lost. That's essentially what happened here. Ryan Spann gets the win via first round guillotine. Next fight on the card, the first regular prelim. And this is actually a very controversial fight in my opinion. You have César Almeida versus Ihor Potieria. Listen, I had César Almeida winning all 3 rounds. That's not the controversial part about this fight. You know, you basically had Almeida winning, landing some leg kicks, some good counters, some body kicks, stuffing a few takedowns. I think Almeida got taken down once in round 1, but got right back up. And yeah, Almeida won round 1. Round 2 is where it gets controversial because I didn't know César Almeida was training with Chris Weidman. He was cheating up a storm, whether it's intentional or non-intentional, and the referee was atrocious. So it started off with an eye poke that Almeida and Potieria both acknowledged, and the referee says, no, keep fighting. Like, wait a second, what? Dave suggests that. I'm probably butchering the last name. Might be the single dumbest referee I've ever seen in my entire life. He has no idea what he's doing. He does not belong refereeing any fight. He doesn't belong reffing a moon bounce for 10-year-olds, let alone an MMA fight in the UFC. Who's putting this guy out there? He's a garbage ref, okay? And that's not all. So he just tells him, no, keep fighting. I don't give a shit you got your eye poked. Right afterwards, Almeida lands a shot to the groin. So then they stop the fight, okay? They stop the fight. I swear the ref is rushing Potieria back. He's like, come, are you ready? You ready? Rushes him back. He gets eye poked again. So now it's the second eye poke, okay? Chris Weidman was in the audience fuming here in a second, and we'll get to that. The referee doesn't stop it again. Basically says, keep fighting. Then there's a third eye poke. And, oh, I'm sorry. I just messed all that up. I just messed up the number of eye pokes. So first eye poke tells him to keep fighting. Groin shot, they stop it. Then there's a second eye poke. They then stop it. Then there's a third eye poke. No stoppage again. And keep in mind, during all this, there's been no hard warnings to Almeida. Occasionally saying, watch the fingers, but that's it. He's just shouting the rules. He's not enforcing them. Then, and I have to have notes. I have to have detailed notes because there's so many fouls in the second round. Then there's a takedown by Ihor Potieria. He doesn't get a lot of control. Almeida gets back up. And then I think you have a second takedown by Potieria. And then that's when Almeida gets a guillotine, ends up in mount, does some big ground and pound, ends up getting the back, then full mount again. César Almeida clearly wins the second round. There's no point deduction. There's no hard warning, nothing. Then the third round, there's a fourth eye poke. And he says, keep fighting again. Fourth eye poke. Chris Weidman was fuming in the audience. His record has been taken. He was landing the 1-2. Chris Weidman was fighting Bruno Silva, landing the 1-2. And then blaming Bruno Silva for it. César Almeida's out there just poking up a storm, okay? Poking up a storm, groin shots, 4 eye pokes in a groin shot, and there's no hard warning, there's no point deduction. Absolute insanity, and the referee is telling Potieria to keep fighting. Doesn't matter, keep fighting. Then there's some clinches, and he's breaking them up after 10 seconds. I know some people would have loved that in the Bautista Aldo fight, but he's breaking them up after 10 seconds. Almeida clearly won the third round, landed the better shots. Dave suggests that is a horrible ref. He is an idiot. He deserves to be fired. He's inexperienced and incompetent, and I don't know why we're putting these guys in charge of potentially people's lives. You have a choke, it's somebody's life potentially on the line. This dude's getting his eyes reamed out by another fighter, and dude's just like, keep fighting. Then when he does stop it, he's like rushing him back. Then I think the one eye poke when he did stop it, he's like, hey man, you want some water? And he asked somebody for water, and I think somebody else told him, no, you can't give him water. So Dave suggests that, fuck him. He's a horrible ref. I never want to see him ref in another fight again. I wouldn't even trust him to work at a fast food restaurant at this point. He's so incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know the rules. And I swear on my life, he was one of the worst refs I've seen ever. Incompetent. Unbelievable. I could go on all day. Next fight on the card, Austin Hubbard, Alex Hernandez. Split decision win for Alex Hernandez. I got to be honest. I thought Austin Hubbard won this fight. I scored round 2 and 3 for Austin Hubbard. Round 1, Hernandez clearly won, was landing the bigger shots, good leg kicks. Hubbard was shooting a couple takedowns, wasn't getting them. A lot of pressure from Hubbard, but he didn't win the first round. Second round was very competitive. You had 2 takedowns from Hubbard, but he didn't do much with it. There was a big knee from Hubbard, and Hernandez was slowing down. I thought Hubbard did a little bit more damage in the second round. Then the third round was really excited. Hubbard started landing some bigger shots. Hernandez was tired, got stung with a jab, was getting teeped, was getting busted up. It was a crazy third round. I thought Hubbard took the third round, landed way more damage. It was a clear third round for Hubbard. There's no debate about it. Hernandez started to slow down. He's known for his cardio issues. I really thought that Hubbard was going to get this decision. It's crazy how many bad decisions there arguably was on this card. Because I thought Carla Esparza won. I thought Hubbard won. We're going to get to some other fights where I thought the wrong victor was handed out. But yeah, Hubbard won the second and third round. The second round was close. So I don't want to say, I don't know if I would consider this a brutal robbery. I don't believe it was a brutal robbery. But Hubbard probably should have won this fight. It was a good fight. Both guys are mediocre. So there's really not much to discuss in terms of, oh yeah, they did this really well. It was an exciting fight where they were kind of slugging it out. Hubbard was shooting takedowns and wasn't really getting them. And, Hernandez looked good early like he typically does and then started to slow down. And Hubbard was mixing it into the body. And then the third round, Hubbard really came alive. Was super aggressive, throwing good combinations. But ultimately, he doesn't get it. Hernandez gets the split decision. It's a fun fight while it lasted. Next fight on the card, Marina Rodriguez versus Iasmin Lucindo. Another split decision, this time for Iasmin Lucindo. Look, again, this is another fight where I thought Rodriguez won. I really did. So there was a big right hand in the first round by Rodriguez that hurt Lucindo. There wasn't a whole lot that happened in the first round. I thought Rodriguez was winning on the feet. There was a late takedown with like a minute left by Lucindo, but she didn't do any damage. Then the second round, not much happened. Lucindo worked in her grappling. There was like 30 seconds left, and Goddard stood him up because Lucindo wasn't doing any damage on the ground. And then the third round, Lucindo got a takedown and got to mount. She didn't really do any damage, but she's driving her chin into Marina Rodriguez's eyes. Goddard stands them up from mount because of that. It's her fault. She's kind of fighting dirty. Rodriguez landed some good shots on the feet, landed a step-in elbow. And then the last 30 seconds was kind of a leg entanglement where Lucindo kind of rolled for a leg lock and Rodriguez was landing some ground and pound. I thought Rodriguez clearly won the third round. First round, you have to give to Rodriguez because he landed the big shot. Lucindo did no damage in the first round. I thought it was a robbery. Maybe not the most brutal robbery ever. I don't think anyone's going to really cry that much about it. But I don't understand how you don't give it to Rodriguez. First and third. She should have won this fight, but unfortunately the judges didn't see it the same way. Again, luckily it's not a big fight for number one contender, but it's like, you say, oh, well, we don't really care about this fight, so who cares? But one day it's going to be. I don't know what was going on with the judges tonight. They were horrible. It was like, okay, get it right for a change. Get it right for a change. So Marina Rodriguez loses the fight. Lucindo basically did no damage the entire fight. And what's crazy to me is the inconsistencies in the judges. Because Lucindo basically won with her grappling, okay? Fair enough. But then Carla Esparza grappled and did some damage, and she didn't win. Makes no sense to me. Inconsistencies. I don't get it. Next fight on the card. We have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley. Third round KO for Joaquin Buckley with a leaping right hook. Put Stephen Wonderboy down. Bad. Had him in the doggy style position. Buckley followed up with like 1 or 2 shots. Referee was in there quick. Buckley was like, back shots, dead. And the fight was over. Now, if you break down the fight prior to that, it was a very good fight. It's a very competitive fight. Wonderboy Thompson has to be devastated because he's stuffing takedowns. You know, he's having PTSD. You know, anybody that wrestles, he doesn't want to fight him. But he's stuffing takedowns, man. He got taken down, I think, twice in the first round. Got right back up. Buckley's having trouble controlling him. Buckley was shooting double legs. Tim Welch would have never saw him coming, so good thing he wasn't Wonderboy's coach. Wonderboy's landed some head kicks. I think there was a nasty head kick at the end of round one. Wonderboy won the first round. Second round, Buckley's rushing in, landing some shots, shooting some takedowns. Wonderboy's landing those Travis Brown elbows to the side of the head a little bit. But Buckley's rushing in, landing big shots. There was a nut shot at one point on Wonderboy, but he didn't take that long, you know, for the break. And then at one point, Buckley got his back and had his back and dragged him down, but didn't really do any damage off of that. But I thought he landed the better shots. And I thought Wonderboy was starting to fade a little bit, and Buckley clearly had the cardio advantage. Then the third round, Buckley's pressuring more, landing these big overhand shots. He backs up Wonderboy to the fence, leaping right hook, lands right on Wonderboy's chin. He drops to his knees, downward dog, doggy style, whatever you want to call it. And Buckley has to follow up with like 2 shots. It was over. I feel for Wonderboy here because, man, the game plan was good, but he just started to slow down a bit. And it's one of those fights where it's like, oh, Wonderboy, he's going to stuff takedowns. He's going to win because it's on the feet. Buckley, because of the threat of the takedown, and because of the aggression, because of the better cardio, Wonderboy's physique didn't look nowhere near as good as it has in the past. He's getting older. And unfortunately for Wonderboy, Buckley came in and caught him with a nasty right hand. It was up for grabs in that third round. Whoever won the third round won the fight. I don't remember what the scorecards were. I think they were I think one person had 2 rounds for Buckley, one judge had 2 rounds for Wonderboy, and then the other judge had it 1-1, which was in the correct scorecards. But I guess it didn't matter anyway because Buckley got the third round finish. Good win for Buckley, saying he's 1 fight away from a title shot. He's calling it Usman. I think he's like 2 fights away from a title shot. So good win. I can't wait to see who he fights next. He's been exciting in his last few fights, and turns out Buckley's the better fighter than Kevin Holland. Next fight on the card, opening up the main card, we have Ketlen Vieira versus Kayla Harrison. This fight was kind of disappointing. Kayla Harrison wins unanimous decision. I had her winning all 3 rounds. Basically, it was like ugly in the clinch. First round, Kayla Harrison then gets a takedown late because Ketlen Vieira kind of is rushing in. Mount, big elbows. I thought Harrison could have done more damage in the first round. Second round, Kayla's winning, but looking like shit and not finding the takedowns and eats 2 big elbows in the clinch. Close round. Maybe you could give it to Vieira off the 2 elbows. I don't know. I still gave it to Kayla. And then the third round, Kayla not looking great on the feet. Commits to a double leg, gets her down, dominates her full mount elbows. It was like Kayla, when she shoots, she just shoots to the upper body. She doesn't even try to drop low. She never commits low. I mean, until the third round, she never committed low to try to attack the legs at all. I guess it's because she's looking for like judo throws and trips, but it's like she was only attacking the upper body, and that's not going to cut it. And she gets the win, though. I don't think it was a total shit performance. Ketlen Vieira is actually decent. I thought Ketlen Vieira beat Raquel Pennington not that long ago, maybe last year. I think maybe early last year, if I'm not mistaken. So not horrible, but it's like Kayla Harrison, I think a lot of people are expecting to come in and bulldoze the division. You know, I really think it was a missed opportunity in the first round. She had Vieira wide open for big shots, and she landed some. I thought she should have been far more aggressive with ground and pound in the first round. Ultimately, she wasn't. Imagine had she starched her out with ground and pound in the first round. Imagine the conversation we'd be having right now rather than like, it's a lackluster decision. But she beats Ketlen Vieira pretty clearly. She's clearly next in line for the bantamweight title. And she's going to fight the winner of the co-main event, which we will get to in a second. Next fight on the card, we have Roman Dolidze versus Kevin Holland. Look, I've been saying it for a while, and I know people are going to get butthurt about this. Kevin Holland's not that good, okay? He's not that good. He gets finished in the first... Well, he doesn't even get finished in the first round. He quits on the stool in between rounds, which I don't necessarily blame him. I know people, when you say, oh, he quit on the stool, whatever. But listen, Holland's landed a couple leg kicks. He gets taken down. Holland's closing his guard from bottom with a body triangle. His grappling's dog shit. It always has been. He can't stuff a takedown. He can't get up off bottom, particularly at middleweight. And then basically, he tries to like throw up an armbar. Dolidze looks to take his back. He hurts his rib. He just lays flat like a dead body, like Court McGee a long time ago when he got KO'd by someone. And just lays flat, gets beaten up a little bit. The ref's about to stop it. Then Dolidze takes full mount. He's smashing him with big shots. Kevin Holland's talking shit while he's mounted, getting smashed. Oh yeah, it's so cool. Look at him. He's cool. He's talking shit while he's getting smashed up. Oh my god. Yeah, he's losing to Dolidze. Dolidze's not that good. I'm so tired. Like Joe Rogan is like hyping up Kevin Holland. Like Kevin Holland's gonna make a title run. This dude is a gatekeeper for the top 30. He shouldn't even belong in the top 15. And you got Dana White putting him on main cards. He doesn't show up ever for big fights. He's just showing up for a paycheck. And his grappling is shit. And it's always been shit. It's been shit since 2019. You know? I don't know. Dolidze gets it done. They're acting like it's a fluke win because of a rib injury. I think Dolidze would have won anyway with his grappling because, again, Kevin Holland can't grapple. He can't grapple. He's getting out grappled by everyone. He got out grappled by Derek Brunson, got out grappled by Marvin Vettori, got out grappled by Roman Dolidze. And Dolidze's nasty on the ground. It's just about getting you there. And he got him there in the first round. I'm assuming he would have got him there in the second and third. Big assumption, maybe. Dolidze was kind of kissing his chest and kissing his stomach. I was always kissing my buddy's chest, kissing my buddy's belly. To shout out Tim Welch a little bit. But yeah, Dolidze gets it done. I think he would have won anyway. It doesn't matter. And he dominated him in the first round, or 10-8 round anyway. 10-8 first round for Dolidze, full mount, smashing with elbows. Kevin Holland, instead of defending himself, he's talking shit while being full mounted. And then he's also body triangle from the bottom. That pissed me off more than any clinching or any grappling on this entire card. The body triangle from the bottom. Oh, sweet move. Sweet move. Body triangle from the bottom when you should be trying to get up. Next fight on the card. Probably the most controversial fight on the card. We have José Aldo versus Mario Bautista. I actually went back and rewatched this fight because I know this is going to be super controversial. Look, I had it scored for Mario Bautista. First round was clearly Mario Bautista landing good combinations, mixing it into the body, clinching up and landing some knees to the thighs, which I get it. It's not all that much. There was a good left hook and a good right hand from Mario Bautista. There was a good nasty elbow and a clinch break by Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista clearly won the first round. Second round was closer. Aldo landed some good combinations early, landed a left hook that cut open Mario Bautista. There was some clinching by Mario Bautista here and there in the second round. Not as bad as it was in the third round. Bautista started to come back towards the second half of the second round. There was a knee that was landed by José Aldo as well, where Mario Bautista had to shoot in. And I thought second round was close. Aldo landed that good combination early in the round, busted him up a little bit. On rewatch, I thought Aldo pretty clearly won the second round, but I thought, honestly, it was kind of up for debate. Maybe that's a little bit crazy to say. Especially on live watch, I thought Mario Bautista, when he came back, landed some good combinations towards the back half of the second round. Thought it was close, but fair enough, you give it to Aldo. Third round, there's no way to give it to José Aldo. People are crying robbery. There's no way. Batista's pressuring, landing good shots. Clinched up for about 2 minutes, and I think Dana White was complaining about that. Almost actually got him down there. Got him to a knee a couple times. Aldo defends. Eventually, they break him up. He shoots in on another double leg. Eventually, Aldo works his way out and then throws a couple shots, but lands at nothing but air. I thought Mario Bautista clearly won the third round. So it's 1-3, clearly Mario Bautista. And listen, I understand. Watching back this fight, this was actually a good fight. The only bad round was the third round. 1 and 2 were really good. You have Mario Bautista pressuring heavily, throwing good combinations, landing heavy combinations. There was even a right hand in the second round, which is the reason I thought Mario Bautista could have stole it. He landed a right hand right on the chin of Jose that seemed to stun him a little bit, and then landed like 3 or 4 follow-up shots afterwards. Most of them were jabs. They weren't super powerful. But the story of this fight was kind of Aldo's jab coming alive in the second round, and then Aldo not being able to get his back off the fence. He was stuffing the takedowns, but he can't get his back off the fence. I understand the third round was not the greatest round. It was kind of boring, and I know everyone's rooting for José Aldo, myself included. He's one of the few fighters that I actually am emotionally attached to. He lost the fight. And people were like, oh, Mario Bautista, he's clinching and this and that, and like the third round wasn't a good look. This is MMA. Go watch kickboxing. Go watch WWE. Like, I just don't understand how people just get infuriated. Oh, how dare you clinch? How dare you invoke grappling skills ever in any fight ever? How dare you? It's MMA. Blame Aldo for not getting his back off the fence. That's been a hole in his game forever. What are you supposed to just slug it out in boxing range with José Aldo the entire fight? By the way, Bautista won the majority of the striking exchanges outside like the first minute and a half of round 2. Bautista was lighting him up on the feet, backing him up, landing right hands, landing good body shots. He was obviously trying to sap José Aldo's cardio. That's what he was trying to do. Now, ultimately, he was more gassed probably in the third round than Aldo was. But it's like, there's this weird thing that happens. When a guy does grapple in a fight, and it's not particularly exciting, grappling, but it doesn't matter. Fans will call it boring regardless, even if it was exciting. But when it's not particularly exciting, what they do is they forget all the striking exchanges. Mario Bautista won this fight primarily on the feet. He did damage on the feet. Just because Bautista's bleeding a little bit, that doesn't mean that Aldo did more damage. That's just visible damage. There's concussive, impactful damage that Bautista did in this fight. And he won the fight. We all love José Aldo. He's a legend of the sport. He's a former featherweight champion. I think 2-time featherweight champion. We all love him, okay? I get it. I was shaking. I was getting chills watching the fight. But he lost his fight. Mario Bautista won. It wasn't the worst performance. I thought Mario Bautista deserved some credit for this performance. And it was a great game plan as well. To work on Aldo in the clinch. He was even throwing shoulder strikes a la Conor McGregor, who invented them, as you guys know. And Mario Bautista clearly won this fight. This is not a robbery. And, for all those people, every time I say, oh, I thought so-and-so won the fight, and they're like, look at the stats. Look at the stats, Joe. Look at the stats, buddy. I'm not using those stats to credit my argument. I'm just kind of being satirical here, just so you know. But yeah, Mario Bautista gets it done. Solid win from Mario Bautista. José Aldo still looks good. Would love to see him against Sean O'Malley. Fuck it. Book him versus Sean O'Malley next. Both coming off losses, both getting out-grappled, both getting their backs blown out a little bit. Book him against Sean O'Malley in his next fight. Let's see how that goes down. Next fight on the card, co-main event. We have Raquel Pennington versus Julianna Peña. Now, somehow I may mix up their names here because I'm really tired, and then I keep wanting to say Pennington, and I want to say Peña, so bear with me. Julianna Peña is your new champion. She wins via split decision. I thought she clearly won. This was a fun... This fight was kind of shit to begin with, but then it kind of got better as the fight went on. Listen, I thought Peña won the first round. The first round is the round that really decided this fight because I thought Peña landed the better shot. She landed some jabs, some right hands, some leg kicks. There was an uppercut and like one other good punch by Pennington. Second round was close on the feet. Peña got the grappling, took her back. Didn't do much with it, but still controlled her a bit. Third round, Peña landed some shots and then took her down and controlled her. Some solid ground and pound. Fourth round, Pennington clearly won. Landed a head kick early that hurt her. Dropped her with a right hand. Looks for the finish. But ended up in a grappling exchange for a little bit. And then the fifth round was them two exhausted, slugging it out. I thought the fifth round could even go to Peña. But the way I scored it was 1-3 for Peña and 4-5 for Pennington. It's not a robbery by any means. Neither one of them looked super impressive. Peña, I guess, is better for the division overall, but that's not how I judge a fight. I just thought Peña won. I just thought she won this fight. 1, 2, 3. There's no doubt 2 and 3 are clearly Peña. 4 is clearly Pennington. 5 is up for debate. I lean Pennington. 1 was the deciding round. Go back and rewatch 1. I haven't yet. I thought Peña won that pretty clearly when I watched it first. Pennington landed like an uppercut in that round and a left hand, and that was it. Peña landed a couple right hands. Both their cardios didn't look great. Pennington obviously had the superior cardio. Peña wasn't even shooting takedowns in that 4th and 5th round because she was so tired. It was like she was just hunched over, frozen like a statue, throwing sloppy right hands. But yeah, Peña wins. And then I say, oh, no doubt in my mind she's going to be delusional afterwards. And no doubt in my mind she's going to preemptively duck Kayla Harrison. That's exactly what she does. She gets on the mic afterwards and she calls out Amanda Nunes. Stop ducking me. Stop running from me. You got embarrassed. Nobody ever wants to see that fight again. I don't want to see that trilogy. Peña, you got embarrassed in your last fight. Okay, last fight on the card, main event. Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. I did a full dedicated breakdown to this fight, which I will link down below, as well as the end cards. Alex Pereira gets a 4th round TKO. Come from behind win for Pereira. First and second round, Khalil Rountree clearly won. First round, Rountree just landed the better shot. Second round, it was a close round. Pereira was winning early. Then Rountree clipped him with a right hand that dropped him pretty badly. Landed a head kick at the tail end of the second round as well. Third round, Khalil started off well, landing body shots. But then it was like Pereira made a conscious effort really to start going after Rountree. With the last minute and a half, really started landing the jab, landed a right hand, started busting him up. Really working on that lead leg of Rountree, landing those calf kicks. And then the 4th round, Pereira landed a shot and then just went for the kill and was just swarming him, had his hands low, ripping to the body, ripping upstairs, landed a knee, landed good shots. Rountree's trying to survive. At one point, his back is against the fence. He's throwing, haymakers, just trying to survive somehow. And then Pereira, I think he rips to the body twice hard, then upstairs with an uppercut. Rountree drops, and it's over. I don't even think he followed up with any ground and pound shots. Pereira gets a 4th round TKO win. He faced adversity. He came back and won. I don't know why they put this. They put this right over his head. What are they doing here? But yeah, Pereira, it was shocking to me. It was a surprisingly competitive fight. I'm shocked that Khalil Rountree at number 8 was super competitive with Pereira. But styles make fights. Pereira gets it done. He loses the first 2 rounds. He comes back and wins. Wins the 3rd and 4th. So he faced some adversity. I think Rountree, his cardio kind of failed him a bit. I also think Pereira, having fought in Salt Lake City before, didn't want his cardio to fail, so he kind of slowed it up in the first 2 rounds and then really went for it in the 3rd and 4th. I think it was a conscious effort by Pereira. But, man, Pereira's been super active, defending the belt left and right. I'm a little bit disappointed. Nobody even mentioned Ankalaev in the post-fight. You know, they're pressing Merab about Umar, but then they're talking about heavyweight and middleweight for Pereira, which I don't really want to see either one of those options at this point in time. I think Pereira versus the winner. Well, if Ankalaev beats Rockage, I think that makes sense the most, which is a banger fight. Super excited for that matchup. Either guy can win that fight. For some reason, people think I definitely think Ankalaev can win. I may pick Ankalaev, but I don't necessarily know who wins that fight for sure. I favor Ankalaev, but it's a great fight. It's one of the biggest fights the UFC can make right now, in my opinion, from a competitive standpoint. Pereira on this crazy tear at light heavyweight, and you have Ankalaev, if he beats Rockage, 13-fight win streak, or 13-fight unbeaten streak, because he did have the draw and no contest in there. But yeah, Pereira being Pereira, man, the striking is so much fun to watch. The power is unbelievable, and the fact that Khalil Rountree was able to have some success was crazy to me. Even if Rountree would have survived the 4th round, it was over. He was so busted up. He came in with like a pre-existing nose injury. His eyebrow, I think, on his right eye got cut up pretty badly. And Pereira was walking him down, beating the dog shit out of him in that 4th round where he got the TKO. So great win from Alex Pereira. Again, it is, okay, it's number 8 guy who was undeserving. I know people think somehow that's crapping on Pereira. No, that's just facts. But ultimately, he gets it done. Was it more competitive than I expected? It surprised me, yes. But at the end of the day, Pereira still got it done. He was destroying the leg in the 3rd and 4th round, which I really think is what led to the finish. But also, I think it's just Pereira managed his, cardio a little bit better, where Rountree was exploding quite a bit. And, he'd had success where he was landing big shots. I mean, he did rock him in that 2nd round, drop him. Another thing I didn't mention, Pereira came out and threw a front kick immediately. But yeah, light heavyweight division doesn't know how to grapple at all. Never was going to grapple with Pereira. Makes no sense at all. But overall, main event saved the card. Card wasn't great. I mean, there's no other fight on this card. Then I'm like, oh yeah, this was a great fight. And I should have only got one pick wrong. You can debate about it, but I should have only got the Tim Means pick wrong. Every other fight, should have got Carla Esparza. Should have got Austin Hubbard, in my opinion. Should have got Marina Rodriguez, in my opinion. And what else? And that's it. Those are the ones I got wrong. So I know people are going to say somehow that's pick bias. No, this is just what I thought. So let me know what you guys thought of the card down in the comments. I am going to go to bed. It's now past 4:30 a.m. I'm exhausted. If you want to go check out my full main event breakdown where I go into more detail about the fight, check it out. I'll link it down in the description. Thank you for watching. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to sleep.